Hello, good afternoon to everyone. It's really a great pleasure to have you all here. There's a lot of attendance to this webinar, and well, actually, we're not very surprised. Today is the very important day for us. It's a great milestone we are achieving, and for you as well, for the whole community of CMDBuild, because we're officially presenting CMDBuild 3.0. We already did some presentation about the tool during the CMDBuild day that we had the past November, and in some previous webinars as well. But today we are really show you what CMDBuild 3.0 will look like, actually looks like, and we will give you a lot of details about some technical information about the tool, all the new features that we develop and that we work very hard in the past months, or should I say years, to achieve this result, which, let me say this, we're very proud of. But you will see it yourself. So just I hope you can hear me well. I hope everything is good. Just as the other webinars, we will do just a quick or show you some slides, some presentation, a presentation about CMDBuild 3.0. Then we will go through a comprehensive demo. We will get our hands on the keyboard and I will show you what CMDBuild 3.0 looks like in action. And then we will come back here and it will be your question and your ask and answer session for you for ask all the questions you might have, which will be addressed to our technical team, and I will be answering them. Of course, as always, feel very free to write all the questions you have in the chat box on the right of the screen, in the bottom right part of your screen. Just feel free to write them. Please write them in English, not in Italian or any other language, so we can all understand them. And we will get to them at the very end of the presentation. Feel free to do it even during the webinar. Don't wait, not necessarily wait the very end and the question time. Okay, so let's start with it. We waited just a couple minutes for the ones that were a bit late to join the webinar, and so today we are presenting CMDBuild 3.0. As I just told you, we're gonna do a live demo of CMDBuild 3.0. We'll see all the new stuff that we worked very hard on in the past month. And as I just said, the will be in question Q&A time with our technical team, where you will be able to ask the questions, and we will provide you the answers. Well, one major improvement that we did on CMDBuild 3.0 was on the server side. There was that database upgrade. First, like from the next release of CMDBuild, we will support Postgres version 9.5 and up to version 10. But we will ship with Postgres 10, which includes many major enhancements, especially from a performance perspective. So it will definitely improve the performance. We're leveraging row level security. So also the minimal required version, which is Postgres 9.5, is bringing us essential new feature, the row level security. As you may know, this will allow us to implement a multi-tenant architecture right at the database level. You will see this in the demo with a great performance and a security gain. Also, we did some improvements on the Java code. We will use Java 8 as our target environment. We thought it would be really the best compromise between stability, between modern features such as functional programming or long support plan, but we're also improving the integration with a common framework such as Spring or JGroups in order, because we really wanted to produce a clean, lean code with an excellent scalability and clustering capabilities. Also, CMDBuild has been completely rebuilt with a strong multi-tier architecture. From the bottom up, we have the database, then the added access layer, the business logic and service layer, and the REST services secured with Spring Security. Uses interfaces such as like the default web user interface, the mobile apps, the external services, they all communicate with the core system via REST web services. They have one common web service, API, which allows us to use specialized, specifically configured components for security, request tracking, auditing, and so on. Well, the new architecture has been redesigned with always keeping clustering in our mind. Well, basically this means that you can have as many application service nodes as you want, and all of them, they will work together as a cluster, spreading load and handling faults in a completely transparent and reliable way. Clustering will be available out of the box and will be extremely easy to configure. You just will need to add more nodes and enjoy the benefit of a modern, scalable, and absolutely reliable system. The caching framework has been completely revisited to support clustering, and they will definitely offer more control upon system status and performance. One thing that a lot of people asked us to develop was in the CMDBuild 3.0 version was the multi-tenant. So we did. We worked very hard on it, and you will see it in action in a little while. Well, with a multi-tenant architecture, our application is designed to provide every tenant a dedicated share of the instance, so that multiple tenants can share a single instance while retaining private and exclusive access to their data, which of course is absolutely fundamental. This is a great asset for complex organizations where horizontal partitioning of the data can now be implemented so that every part of the organization access only to their data, keeping, of course, the privacy of it. Multi-tenant can also be used to create a shared instance. For example, a single instance can be deployed on the cloud and shared between different independent accounts. Going on, we worked also on a new workflow engine, which we developed internally here in Tecnoteca, and we called it River. So this new release brings of CMDBuild 3.0 brings to you a new workflow engine, which aims to be drop-in replacement for the old engine. So it will be an embedded engine which delivers an impressive performance improvement by leveraging internal CMDB components such as persistence, synchronization, and also it will remove unnecessary communications overhead. So the new workflow is faster than it's ever been, while still retaining backward compatibility with the standard XPDL format and interoperability with other XPDL-based workflow engines. So all legacy flow instances can be upgraded with little to no work to use the new flow engine, the River flow engine, workflow engine. So, of course, we're about to release the 3.0 version, which will come out at the end of March 2019, of course, but we're already working on the next version, the CMDBuild 3.1. It will include some features that will be not available in these versions coming out now. This version coming out now, the 3.0, well, at least they will be fully available. And the 3.01 version will include some nice features such as the push real-time notifications, a time machine slider, which will let you a slider that will let you explore previous system data. So go back to a specific configuration of the system back in time, of course, and it will improve, will feature an improved service for the management console, as well as a new system for the configuration and administration tools. This is the groundwork for the 3.1 version. Okay, just another few words before actually going to see CMDBuild 3.0 in action. Of course, along with CMDBuild 3.0, we're also working on preparing the 2.0 versions of CMDBuild ready to use and OpenMade, the other two tools which are based on CMDBuild. Both applications will be migrated to the new core environment of CMDBuild 3.0, from which they will inherit the new graphical interface and the new other features released, the one that we just talked about. So the usability of both features will be then improved, of course, starting to the use of the standard features available. So setting of help and validations rules, which we'll see later on, activation of automatism through the form triggers, which we'll also see in a few minutes, configuration of the context menu, adoption of the new workflow engine Tecnoteca River, which I just told you about, and we will see in action in a few minutes, and but also highlighting of the status and of the action to be carried out in the process. And this just to name a few of the new features that will be CMDB ready to use and OpenMade will inherit from CMDB 3.0. Both applications, CMDB ready to use and OpenMade, will also be extended with several applications improvements. CMDB ready to use 2.0 will include, for instance, a more complete management of the SLA, so the SLAs, and the key performance indicators, a dashboard for managing incidents and requests, a new problem management process, a new feature for preventive maintenance, and a better management of the scheduling. OpenMain 2.0 will have a revised data model. We really refurbished the data model to make it in a more logic way in order to share the basic structure with CMDB ready to use and to facilitate the porting of some functionalities between the two applications. It will also feature a dashboard for the management of the maintenance requests, again, for the control of the SLAs, the configuration of additional reports, and a better management of the scheduling. CMDB ready to use will be released next June. OpenMain 2.0 will be released next July, and CMDB 3.0 will be released, as I said a few moments ago, in a couple months, the end of March 2019. But now let's see CMDB 3.0 in action. Let's see what it looks like, and let's get the hands on the keyboard.
Okay, so this is the new interface of CMDBuild 3.0. Here we got the login mask, where we're going now to log in with the admin user. The login mask didn't change much. You can select all the languages which were available already for the 2.5.1 version. Also in this case, you will see that when we log in, the system will ask us the group which we belong, as we are assigned to all the groups. You can actually even change user at this point of the login. So let's now enter into the CMDBuild 3.0, and we will see already the new interface. On top of the left the screen you got the CMDBuild logo, then you can insert your logo of the of your company, and also a preview. Both of these two images can be configured by in the administration module. On the left here we got the name of the user. Then it's logged in. We can switch to a different group without having to do the logout then log in. Then we can go to the preferences, the administration module, and of course the logout. These last two Buttons can also be found by clicking in the on the button on the top right of the screen. In the footer we find the just normal information that we found also in the previous version. On the left we found a navigation tree which can be customized according to the user and to the group in the administration module. One thing we did is removing records on the class and record processes, and we added a new navigation item which includes the classes, processes, reports, and the views. Of course, on the central part, we got all the data. This, for example, is a grid of the employees that are registered into the system, and as you can see, we got a new feature that will develop this new feature right here, which is the code, and having also the information on a line. So by clicking on it, you will it explodes already all the information about that card, and you will see in this case the general data and the administrative data. Of course, all the information you have here, you also find them here in the icons that you find on the top right of the cards, like also as well as the details, the relations, the history, and the emails. Okay, so let's now see what the new graphic looks like for viewing all information on one single card. Let's open this card here, and we see that this new window shows up, and where we have visualization of all information of the card, and moreover on the sidebar we can go on to the additional information like notes, relations, we got the email, the history of the card, and as well as the attachment. Okay, if we click on modify card, there will a new window will show up, and you will have the possibility to change the information of that single data. Okay, so in the new version of CMDBuild we implemented some features in order to simplify and make better the management of the cards. More specifically, we added some additional information like the on all fields, like the help, the show if, and the custom validators. Okay, so if we go now into the editing of the building card, we will see all this information. So we have the help here, we got the custom validators right here. Like here in this case it only allows me to enter numbers, and if I try to insert any letter it will give me an error. So of course for the postcode I will be only allowed for inserting numbers, of course. So let's put a number, whatever, and then of course doesn't show any error. Moreover, we got a show if, which basically means that field is shown only according to a specific condition. In this case, if we change country to Italy, the field state just goes away. It doesn't happen with the selecting United States of America where you can also select a state. Okay, let's go back and let's now talk about the triggers, which are action that can be executed before the creation or the cloning or the editing of a card, or after the creation, cloning, or editing of removing a specific card. And for example, here just for the demo, we created a trigger for a pre-creation, which gives a value, in this case the country field. Um, so let's, for example, insert random, which will be my new building. Yeah, building. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Now we switch to United States. The field state shows up. Select California, and then we save, and we will now show you that in this case we also executed a trigger of post creation, which created the code taking the first letters of every single word in the description. So it was like my new building, so it's M and B code. One other trigger that we created for this demo is the removing of a code description when we clone the specific card, so it won't inherit the code. So you see here the code is like United States and California state still, but code and description is white. Okay, so if now we go in the administration module, and then we go in the building card, we can see how the new fields are configured in the help, show if, and the custom validators. Let's see, for example, for the code here in the administration. As you can see, well, we kept the graphic, which is quite similar to the previous one. We only slightly changed the colors to make it easier to understand in whether we are in the administration or management module. Okay, so in this case we got the code where we added, as I was telling you, the help, show if, and validation rules. So help is just a single text, which of course you can customize according to your needs. Show if and validation rules are JavaScript fields, which can also use some APIs in order to validate or to show fields according to a value in other forms, just like we saw before. Let's see, for example, the example. There's a validation rule which created for the demo, of course, according for the cost code, so allows only numbers and not text. Or we also got the we can actually hide or show fields, show if, and this is the code of the lookup, the show if for showing or hiding a specific field according to the other values. Okay, so in order to see the editing form, we need of one class. We need to go into information, which is actually more comprehensive than the previous one, and this includes all the general information. and the editing form has all the new information which we just spoke of, and like the general information, the class parameters, and the filters, and also information about the attachments. So it is possible in this new version to modify the category of the lookup, and also we can even choose to if the description is mandatory or or not. We can select the orders of the data, and then we'll add the validation of the form thanks to JavaScript code, and then we got the trigger which we just spoke of. So these are the trigger that we added for this demo. So in the before insert, we set up the lookup country with the lookup value of the code with the code it. Before cloning, the fields are erased, and here, clicking on the code, we see that the code that we wrote for giving a value to the code field when this is empty, and also for this trigger is executed after the cloning activity. So another feature that we introduced in this new version of CMDBuild, always to simplify the management of the data, is the contextual menu. Let's now see how it works. Okay, so if, for example, we go on all computers here, we see this a new menu here. It opens up on clicking on this icon, and here we got some actions that we can do, like we can print the QR code, change the state to disuse or to available, and to enable the multi selection. So if we select an element here, we will see that now all the activities are available because we didn't select any before, and then we can even select the enable the multi-selection, so which allows us to select more than just one item and apply the action to all the items that we selected. Try to select 2 cards, and then we will of course apply. Well, we can change the state. We cannot print the QR codes for the 2 assets at the same time, but we can change the state to disused or to available. Of course, the QR code is only available for just 1 card. Okay, after we did this, we can go and check if the status is actually changed, and both of them are now used. By clicking to available, we will now see that the 2 states of status have changed. Okay, let's see how we can configure this. So this is always goes through the administration module. We now go to on the configuration item, and we go on client hardware computer, and then we can go on the editing of the class of the computer class, and in the trigger forms, we will find a contextual menu for the configuration of the context menus, of course. So in this case, we see that there's the we can have the possibility to print the QR code, which happens, of course, through a JavaScript, and which is available only for the current, so only for one item. And we added this separator, and then the other activities, so like change these use into available, which we just saw, and also these two. For these two, we also still use the API, which are created to manipulate the data in this specific context in the contextual menu, or also, just we saw before, in the validation rules and in the show if. We also got well, here we can also add a new JavaScript code, or even the new components written specifically written using the frameworks XJS in order to integrate the custom codes within our application. Okay, so scrolling down, we see that the form widgets and how we can insert new widgets for the cards. Okay, and then at the end we got the icon, which we can select for the specific classes. Okay, now going back to the data management module, we see how it is some features that have been implemented, which were all actually even available in the previous CMDBuild, but didn't look quite like this. For example, we here for the relation graph we did some improvement in order to speed up the rendering of the graphic, the relation graph. Sorry, and then here on the left we got new information like the card relation, and also the card list, which weren't like this at the beginning, and then as well as the class list shown in the relation graph. We can also switch to more than just one level of visualization in the graph, like so. Now we will see how the new maps have been implemented with the geographical information of the cards. So we got on the central part of the screen, we got the map, of course, and then on the right column we got the navigation tree, which gives us all the informations, like for example on the buildings, but then also we got the list, which represents the grid of the elements of this class, which is building. And also by selecting one element on the map, we get more information about its position, some more geographical information. Okay, now we can here see even the layers that are shown in the map, and are configured, and shown in the map. Okay, so let's now see what the beam information looks like. Open the 3D viewer of this card building. We will see that the building show us in a three-dimensional environment, loading one layer after the other, and we'll see what we did here. So here we got basically the navigation tree, and by clicking here we can put the layer hollow, transparent, so we can see through it, and then actually check what's behind it. We can even yeah, ability it, enable or disable it in order to see through it, like so. Okay, let's now see which new features have been implemented for the workflows. So going in the asset management, the workflow asset management, we see the grid of the processes, which basically kept the same mechanisms of the card grids. So we can see it have an inline visualization of a single process. So if we click on start of one process, we will have a new window that comes up, and where we can select the new process that we want to start, and so we can see the new features we developed. Here on top, we got all the steps of the advancing of the process, which is managed by configuring a lookup, and also we can have a field of the action on top of the page here, of the action which is also configured for the activity. So in this case, we just pick a random one, and we select the Addison Lee as a supplier. When we fulfill all the mandatory fields, we can execute it and actually start and move on to in the workflow. And here on the top of the screen, there's a new feature we introduced, which is a message field that shows up, which of course can be customized. And this window, this information can contain useful information for the user in order to complete the activity, the current activity. Well, in this case, it says that he needs to fulfill the field before opening this widget. So now that the information is saved, we can go on with the process, and we can see how the custom form for the saving is looks. Well, custom for saving looks like now that everything is saved. Okay, so let's go to the now request fulfillment process, and let's edit it, and see we see that well, here we have the general data of the process of the workflow. We got we can upload an XPDL file here, and also we got the chance to configure the state, and for this we can choose a specific lookup. These states available, of course, they are all lookups, and for this type of process, but we can also choose the field of for the message that we just saw before on the top of the screen. Okay, so modifying the process, we can now choose which workflow engine we want to use. For example, here we selected Tecnoteca River, which is a new engine workflow that we created specifically for this new CMDB, but of course the previous Neither or Shark is still available, and but in this case we're using the new workflow engine that we specifically created and worked on for this CMDBuild 3.0. Okay, then also for the processes we can configure the category for the lookup to be used for the category, and also we can select the editing mode, the description mode for the category of lookup. So it could be hidden, visible, mandatory, for example, and then the attribute, and the adding an icon. Let's see now other pages of the administration module. For example, going here, we see how the lookup, the management of a lookup is performed here. We have information on lookup list and the lookup value. So if for instance we click on the first line, there is a we see that we can go and edit it, and here clicking here you can edit the lookup value, and you have new properties like description, the text color, and also you can select the icon. So the icon can be of a font icon, which comes from a library of font icons, just the one you're seeing right now, but also can be uploaded from your own library. Of course, you can even select the color of the font. In this case, we can select even an image to look like an icon. Okay, so we now go on the configuration of the groups and the roles for each group. So if I click on groups and permissions, and then on change manager, we see that we have the name of the group, the permissions, what the people belonging to this group can do. We got the classes, the processes, the views, the search filters, the dashboard. So it's a bit different than how it was before. And we then have the users list page where we see the user interface and what they see and what they don't see in this label here, user interface configuration. So okay, let's then go back to the users. If we go in the grid documents, we can open editing of a user. In this case, the administration user can configure all the fields. So we got here the general data, general information, the password, of course you can change the password, you can assign it to a specific group, and this also can select if you want him to log in with a specific group, or if you can choose him on his own with which group he wants to log in with. Let's now go to the multi-tenant page. We see that we have the multi-tenant tenant page, which can be enabled or disabled. So the configuration of the tenants can be done from this page here, and of course, as well, here we got a workflow, which can be edited, and we can enable here the one of the two different and workflow engine we just spoke about in River or in Hydra Shark. Well, I think this is just a general overview of what the CMDBuild 3.0 looks like. From me, Francesco, and from the whole Tecnoteca team, we would like to thank you very much for attending this webinar. It's really a pleasure to see every time so many of you interested in our tools, and for us, it's what keeps us on working very hard. So thank you again, thank you very much, and have a good evening the rest of the day. Ciao, ciao.